There were a couple of items that floated to the top of the noteworthy list out of a press conference today with the incoming Lieutenant Governor of Texas, former Houston State Senator and Tea Party favorite Dan Patrick. The man who will oversee things in the Texas Senate said he wants to eliminate the rule that allows children of those who have entered the country illegally to get in-state tuition. Patrick also said that he would work to drop funding for the State Public Integrity Unit. That, of course, is the agency that investigates wrongdoing by elected officials, but it's also the one that Governor Rick Perry vetoed funding for, which led to his indictment and charges that he had abused power. There were plenty of other talking points that came out of the Patrick presser that could affect you, your tax dollars, and your child's education. Here's a portion of that press conference from Austin earlier.
The people want us to pass a conservative budget that includes significant funding for property tax and business tax cuts, and we will accomplish that. Pass legislation to limit, which has been my longtime goal. I've passed, or filed legislation anyway, it hasn't passed, to limit spending in our budget to no more than population and inflation. But we also have to define what that is, because it means many things to many people. We will have in our budget additional funding for women's health. On border security, the plan is to increase funding for border security that will continue to fund the increase of DPS personnel on the border and keep the National Guard funded for an additional 2 years, or as long as needed until DPS is able to build up their force. And I will also support the immediate funding of keeping the Guard on the border from March through August. As you know, recently, funding was cut for the Guard this spring, that will take effect this spring. We should not have a gap between March and August, and we should not be pulling back forces now when the Guard and the DPS working together with Border Patrol and local law enforcement is working. It's really working. We're going to fund border security at the highest level we've ever funded it in a budget in the history of Texas. Property taxes and business taxes. Once again, we're going to pass a budget with significant dollars allocated for property and business tax relief. There are many ideas, from increasing the homestead exemption to cutting the appraisal rate to adjusting the rollback rate, which in many ways accomplishes the goal of giving local authorities still the ability to raise funds with a vote of the people for programs they believe they need, but also control the growth of the increase in taxes. Because what we must do as a legislature is not only give tax relief now, but we have to slow down the value growth, which just eats away any tax relief that we give people in just a few short years. As a former education chair, you know that I have a passion for education. Once again, I believe that we should have school choice for every child in Texas, not just the wealthy who can send their children to private school, and not just those who have the mobility to move to the suburbs, but for parents in the inner cities that are trapped, or their children are trapped in failing schools. It is their right to have those same opportunities. I want to expand our accountability program to expand the rating from school districts. Last session we passed a bill that we will now rate school districts A through F. I want to expand that to the campus level, because parents have a right to know how their individual school is performing. If you want to bring about change to public education, wait till the parents drive by the school and see the marquee out front with a C, a D, or an F. That will bring about change. I want to fund new reading programs so that every child can read at grade level in the 4th grade. If you can't read at grade level at the 4th grade, your chances of success in school are greatly diminished. So we're going to put additional resources into reading programs. I also want to look at the need for remedial programs that work, expand Teach for America, fund courses for career opportunities for middle school students, and once again, open to all the great ideas that the senators will bring us. On higher education, I passed a bill last session, but it wasn't funded, to create scholarships for math and science teachers. Less than, at least on the last data that I saw, less than 40% of our math teachers and science teachers in school have a degree in math and science. If we wonder why our students are struggling in those two areas, it may be because we have many teachers out of discipline teaching those courses. And let's talk about college tuition. Since we deregulated tuition over a decade ago, it simply has been a failure. Tuition has skyrocketed, and quickly, middle-class families can't even afford to send their child to school. Too many students are graduating with too much debt. They get out of school, their debt's higher than they can even earn in their first job. We have to reduce the burden on families and students. Colleges and universities need to know that the cost of college tuition is of great concern to me, to many members in the Senate. We're going to address this issue, and they need to address this issue.
That video courtesy of our friends at the Texas Tribune. You can see the entire press conference courtesy of the Tribune. That is through our web channel at kbtx.com.